we're gonna start. Oh, there's Julie. Oh, good, she got it. All right. Okay, we are just gonna go ahead and jump in there. I have 12 participants joining us here live. That is totally awesome. And then I've got just gonna type hello in the chat room to everybody. If you could just type me a quick hey. That's another way I can communicate with everybody as well. Okay, so let me grab my notes. Just 1 second. All right, so if you want to turn your phones off, mute your phones, and close your Facebook, anything that's bothering you or interfering with your ability to stay focused today, because your angels, our angels here, want our full undivided attention. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and begin recording the meeting. Oh, it's already being recorded. Okay, that's special. It records as we begin. All right, I'll have to go on and clean up the beginning. Okay, so everybody can hear me okay? All right, welcome everyone. This is Julie Geigle, International Psychic Medium, Trance Channel for Archangel Metatron and Awakened Healer. And you, if you've arrived here safely today, you are watching a sneak peek of our Lightworkers Mentorship Program. Susan and I have been guided to create a special online program for Lightworkers. The time is now, and Metatron and Jacob are calling you now to rise up and be all that you came here to be. We need help. The Lightworkers have come here to this planet for a specific purpose, and all of a sudden I'm getting all kinds of information. So this is really exciting, Susan. Yeah, so Metatron is here, Jacob's here. I can really feel the energy. And definitely Bonnie's brought some really intense people with her too. Wow, Bonnie. All right, so yeah, there's a lot of really exciting stuff going on the planet right now. And we are all needed. We are all needed to rise up. We're all needed to help other people who are coming into their own, who are awakening, who have created that contract to help this planet evolve, and they're just beginning to remember that and what their role is in all of this. So there's going to be some exciting stuff that's coming through as we all join together. And Susan and I felt very confident on the number 10. So Metatron and Jacob are gathering 10 people. You'll know if you're one of them or not. And I know Dorothy has already signed up, so thank you. Special blessings to Dorothy, and we have a free gift for you. We'll be sending that soon. And so the first 3 people who join will receive a free gift. And then, like I said, it's limited to 10 people. So it's a very small, intimate group of 10 people that will be coming together. And today, what we want to do today is really give you some meat of what the program is by offering essentially a free session here. So this is actually what you'll be engaging in when you come every month to join together with us. But as you know too, that when you create a circle of light workers, when you create a sacred circle, it takes on an entity of its own. And if any of you have joined me for the Manifesting Mastermind groups, you absolutely know what I'm talking about, because this energy kind of starts to snowball, and it gets bigger and bigger as we move together, the more time we spend together, and as we progress through the program. So this is just kind of giving you a sneak peek of that energy of what we'll be covering and the different things that will be involved. Okay, so I would like to just take a moment to introduce the talented and gifted Susan Schueler.
Hi there. Nice to meet everybody. I don't honestly know if I'm supposed to tell you a little bit about myself. Julie, am I supposed to do that now, or am I just saying hello?
Yeah, just a quick intro
Okay.
like we do on the show. Yeah. More than that.
Oh, okay. Sorry, guys. I'm still new at this. I'm a professional psychic medium. I live in the Los Angeles area. I was a high school English teacher for almost 25 years prior to delving into this full time. I'm really excited about doing this class that Julie and I are doing together. And I agree with what she's saying about there is a need right now on the planet for those of us who are so inclined as light workers to step forward. And it's interesting too, because when she was sort of talking about Metatron and Jacob coming forward, my body is such where when I feel spirit people coming really close to me, I want to burst into tears. And I almost literally burst into tears when she said that. So I agree with her. The spirit people are close. I'm looking forward to this. And I just think this is a great experience. Okay,
Yeah.
Julie, take it away.
Yeah, most definitely. So Susan and I channel together over on our radio show, Angel Talk Tuesday. I channel Archangel Metatron, which I trance channel. So a lot of people will say I channel this and I channel that, and they do, but not many people trance channel. So Susan and I actually trance channel, and what that means is we allow that energy, we step aside and allow that energy to actually speak through us. So it's a very intense energy, and it is very profound information that comes through. And so if anybody's interested in channeling or learning how to expand that capability, that is also part of the class if that's what you desire. And one thing I did want to say too, you know, Susan and I definitely have an agenda. We're both school teachers. I taught middle school, Susan taught high school. And interestingly enough, we're both English majors. So, yeah, so we have an agenda. We have a lesson plan. We have it all laid out. But Metatron was very quick to tell me that this isn't about Susan and I. This is about something way bigger than either of us could ever begin to imagine. And that it's really, really important to allow Metatron and Jacob to step forward and take control, because they are the ones that inspired this meeting today, and they are literally the ones that are in control, full and total control. So it's kind of, I'm almost feeling like how we do with the trance channeling, Susan, that this is going to be trance channeling, only it's going to be in a group format. And so I really did get that feeling when the class was set up that this is really Jacob and Metatron speaking through us to share information with you. So much bigger than just Susan and I. So you get 4 masters. Wow. All right. Any questions about any of that before we move on? And feel free to unmute yourself if you have a question, or raise your hand. I forgot how do you raise your hand? Let's see. To raise your hand, click Option and press Y. Oh, Dorothy says there's a button. I love you, Dorothy. Okay, so everybody sees the raise hand button. I know on my laptop Susan and I couldn't quite figure it out, but we did figure out if you hit Option on your laptop and the letter Y. Susan, you want to do that?
Well, if you go to participants, you can raise your hand there. Everybody will pop up. And I don't know if everybody's got the ability to where it says participants, but I know on my laptop I see it there. Does everybody have that?
I see it. Okay. I see it. If you don't see it, you can go ahead and pop that in the chat room. Yes, and that's what Dorothy said. There's a press participants, and there will be a unmute and raise hand button. And the participants is right next to the green share screen button.
Right.
Okay, beautiful. All right, we've got 4 participants with their hands up. Awesome. Bonnie, did you have a question? No. Okay, you're just testing out the raise hand. Okay, Julie. Julie, did you have a question?
Nope, I was just doing the same thing.
Perfect. And Susan, you're good.
I'm good.
All right, and everybody else. Oh, we've got a lot of people here. Okay, so I'm going to lower some hands here. All right, we're good. Okay, so I'm going to just take a few minutes to take us through a guided meditation. Metatron is all about meditation, as I'm sure Jacob is too. So I'm going to have you just make sure your feet are flat. If you're lying down, that's perfectly fine too. But I'm going to have you just take a nice deep breath and relax. And I also want to show you just quickly the crystal bed. If you're not familiar with my work, I use a crystal bed with everything I do. Every time I do the radio show, every time I do host a meditation, I do a lot of classes over with Om Times. Anytime I'm doing any work, I always have the crystal bed going because it brings in another frequency. It clears, and releases your chakras. So right now, everybody is getting a beautiful chakra healing. And it also opens up a vortex, a portal, so that we can communicate with spirit. And I want to share that with you really quick because this is really cool. So I'm just going to have this rolling while I do the meditation here. Everybody just take a nice deep breath and relax. And I want you to just imagine opening your heart to receive right now this beautiful healing, releasing any interference, releasing any blocks to being a light worker, rising up into your power. And now I want you to imagine this beautiful sacred circle that we're creating here today. Feel the love and the peace from each and every person here that's come together. I'm so honored and blessed that you've chosen Susan and I to work with today. And thank you. Thank you for showing up. And so now I want you to call upon your own spiritual council. Each and every one of us come with our own council of light. It includes your guardian angels, your loved ones who've passed, guides that come and go depending on what you're working on. And I'm being told and shown that each and every person here today has received a new guide. And there are actually a couple of people whose guides are kind of stepping forward. So it's like you've kind of had them pushed in the background and now you've opened your heart to receive. And so they're kind of stepping forward, being like, yay, I can finally breathe. All right, very exciting. I get that feeling we just won the lottery. So it's a really beautiful energy. And the last piece in that spiritual council is pets. Pets in spirit. And also totem animals. So whatever totem animal pops into your mind right now, that's typically your totem. It also brings in the Native American energy. And speaking of the Native American energy, the Pleiadians have stepped forward and they want to welcome all of us here today. And they will be working with this group as well as we move through the next 4 months together. And again, just breathe into this beautiful energy, allowing your heart to open up and receive. feeling the expansion, feeling the attunements. Welcome. I am Metatron, here in service to humanity. And as you gather here today, we wanted to make our presence known to you directly. This energy is real. The time is now. We are honored that you have gathered here in the light to be the light, to assist the evolution of the consciousness of the planet Earth. Thank you. And just take a nice deep breath and come back into the room. Yay, that was a special surprise. I'm like, oh, we didn't plan for you. And he's like, I'm coming. Okay, yeah, so Susan's going to take it from here.
Okay, now I noticed some of us are wiping our eyes. Just so you know, very normal. There are some times where I will finish a meditation where I'll have to wipe my chest because I've cried so much. I don't know why some of us are just like that, but I just definitely feel that type of energy. And the way that my teachers have explained it to me over the years is it's a form of cleansing. And it's something that we need to do. So when you feel the urge to cry during a meditation, don't hold back. Allow it to unfold, allow it to do, just go with it. Yeah, the lack of judgment is good. So one of the things we wanted to talk about right now is meditation, and like the meditation that Julie just, or I should say Metatron just brought us through. First of all, it is important if you choose to do any of this type of work that you do have some form of meditation practice in play. There are so many different ways to do meditation. And the main reason that one would want to do this is, first of all, you want to ground and center yourself. Yes, it's important that we're up and we're able to, access our spirit guides and all of that, but we don't want to be off with the fairies, okay? Because we do live in the planet and we do need to ground ourselves because of that. So in doing a grounding meditation, it's a good way to start off, but it also allows you to sit within your power. And I know, like, just from my own mediumship work, learning to sit in your power is a very powerful thing. It also allows you to kind of get out of your head as well. It allows you to balance out your chakras. What people don't realize is if your chakras are not balanced, that you can invite dis-ease into one of those areas. Say that, like, I'm not speaking my truth and I'm shutting down my throat chakra. This is where my thyroid is. So there's certain spots on our body that we want to make sure that they're flowing, that they're balanced, and meditation is awesome for that. Also, what it does is it raises your vibration. And if we want to have a clear channel, whether we're doing psychic work, whether we're doing healing, whether we're doing mediumship, whether we're counseling, talking to people, however it goes, you want to be of a high vibration, because the higher your vibration is, that's what you'll invite into your life. So it's like you really want that high resonate. You want to be able to resonate at a high level just to make sure that that happens. Also, I'm huge when it comes to setting intentions. Like, I make intention candles, but I feel like when you set the intention during a meditation, it could be, I'd like to meet my spirit guides. It could be like, okay, I just want to try to quiet my mind. I mean, there's so many different intentions that you can have when you begin one, that that's just a great way to start it. I'm such a believer of intentions. I think no matter what you do, you should always set the intention prior to beginning. But going back to meditation, there's also, it's like you don't always have to be in this like meditative Om sitting lotus position. I just did a bunch of gardening today, and I even have one arm right now, and I still did my gardening. That's very meditative to me. Anything where you are in the moment, where you are present, where you're really engaged, that's a form of meditation. I always joke on the show that my favorite British medium, Mavis Patilla, she smokes cigarettes and she irons. And now I'm not promoting smoking cigarettes, but that's how she meditates. And she's done it for years. And she listens to the rest of us talk about meditation, and she kind of giggles because that's what she's done. And she's probably one of the best mediums in the world. So you just have to find what works for you. Okay, so Julie, I think it's your turn now. Did I say everything I was supposed to say?
Yeah, that was great. That was great. Any questions for Susan about meditation? Are you meditating right now? So let's kind of get a poll here from everybody. If you want to pop into the chat room, are you meditating? Do you meditate? Are you struggling with meditation? Are you having a hard time? I know sometimes there's a disconnect because people feel like it's about not thinking and they can't get out of their head. So I think that was really important what Susan said about it can look different and be different for everybody. My meditation, seriously, is in the morning. I just grab a cup of coffee and I sit outside and I tell my family this is quiet time. Nobody's allowed to talk to me. And I sit outside, of course, when it's not snowing. But yeah, I just relax with a cup of coffee. And then I try to think of three things I want to get done for the day. And I do my prayers. I've got my little prayers that I kind of run through in my head. I work with Ho'oponopono, a huge fan of that. I kind of run through that in the morning as well. But it really sets the tone for the day. And it is, for me, when I don't do that meditation in the morning, clear that energy, clear that space, set those intentions, and create that gratitude and frequency, I have a different day. Yeah. And we have Bonnie. I find myself meditating many short times per day and one longer session at night. That's great. Julie, need to be more consistent. Yeah, and when you can attach it to something, like I've attached it to coffee, which, you know what? They just had a radio or on the news, coffee's good for you. Well, one cup, not a whole pot. But yeah, so if you can attach it to something that I know I'm not going to go without my coffee. So the chances of me skipping meditation are not going to happen. So when you can attach it to something, I kind of learned that with hypnosis. When you can attach it to something, that's when you're really going to be effective with it. And then Claudine said not regularly, but definitely need to be more consistent. Awesome. And let's see, anybody else I missed? Sage, recently every night before bed, follow up with Reiki. That's awesome. And doing that Reiki with your meditation is perfect. Yvonne, I've been trying to more often. Excellent. Carla, I get anxiety with it. Yes, Carla, you're somebody I would love to work with. Be sure to check out my free meditations over on Learn It Live, because that is one of the top 10, I would say, blocks of people meditating is that it makes them really anxious to be still.
And Carla, if I can interject
Please.
here, there are times when I'm still meditating and I'll be in like the class where I'm like with a bunch of other professional mediums, and I will get so anxious during a meditation that I want to jump out of my skin. There have been times where my stomach will actually start to growl when I know I am not hungry. My body will physically tell me I do not want to do this. So what it is, it's a form of like a rebellion. That's the only way it feels like to me. But the more that you practice it, the less it will happen. But even if you're really good at doing this and you're frequent at doing this, you'll still have moments. And I don't know, Julie, do you?
Absolutely. And sometimes I'll do yoga as my meditation, or I will do walking meditation, an active meditation, the ironing. I love to, Eckhart really talks about the being present, being present is meditating. So it's not just about having a separate private practice called meditation, but bringing that in, infusing that into your entire day. So it's about focused concentration. So whatever you're doing, you're being present with. But absolutely, you can make exercise a meditation. You can make anything a meditation. So Carla, if you're one of those people that gets anxious from just sitting still and not doing anything, you might want to explore maybe Tai Chi, or take your exercise routine and use that as a meditation. So I mean, I'm not saying, and this is important just to note quickly, there's exercising and then there's using exercise as a meditation. Who knows what the difference between those two are? Because it's not, oh, I exercise, well then I meditate every day. No, that's not what I'm talking about.
Right. Well, it's like I'll say to people sometimes, it's like just because you pop in your earbuds, I'm always like, pop those earbuds out if you're going to do some form of exercise and look around you. Notice the birds, look at the sand, say hello to people that are walking by. That's making you in the moment. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like, to me, the earbuds are like number one way of saying I'm not in the moment.
Right. Yeah. And your breath. And a lot of times I'll focus on how my body's feeling when I'm doing that move or that exercise, and really moving into being present with my body. All right. All right. So I'm just going to take a minute to define what is a light worker. And if anybody has some definitions that feel good for them, if you could post that in the chat room, that would be awesome. For me, a light worker is about holding that frequency. And I remember early on my spiritual path, someone had told me, a spiritual teacher had told me, well, you're a light worker. And I was like, okay, what's that mean? Doesn't mean anything to me. But what I came to understand is that a light worker is someone who holds the frequency, holds that space of light. And you're like a natural born light. You walk into a room and it's like sunshine or fireworks. I'll never forget when I was a teacher, like we had an icebreaker for other teachers. You know, we would have a staff day before all the kids would gather. And one of the icebreakers, we were in like a group of 6 people, and you were supposed to use one word to describe, you know, the person in your group. And one of the other teachers described me as 4th of July. And I was like, okay. But he's like, no, that's good. Because, you know, when you come into a room, it's like an explosion of light. And I was like, wow, that's really cool. I really loved that. I mean, it can mean different things for different people. But for me, it's about being a frequency holder and holding that vibration. And what I've noticed too is like people will gravitate toward you, and they're pulling Reiki. I can feel people pull Reiki. I can feel animals pull Reiki. And it's important to, when you feel that, to make sure that they're pulling that energy from the life force energy field. Because if you're Reiki attuned, you know that we're a conduit. We're a conduit for universal life force energy. And whether you're attuned or not, that will happen. But once you become attuned, you just become more aware of it, and you can kind of put words to it. But if you're not attuned, you might resonate with what I'm talking about. And it is just important when you feel someone pulling your energy, it is important to be aware that that energy isn't coming from your own personal source, that it is, you're being a conduit. You're being a conduit for God's light. You're being a conduit for the universal life force energy for that person. And also a lot of times as a light worker, I will bless people. You know, I will see somebody on the street and they're looking sad or depressed, and I send them love and light. I'm constantly sending people on Facebook love and light. I'm a prayer warrior, and I gain great comfort and delight in praying for other people. That just comes, well, part of that, I was a nun in many past lives. I don't know if you were, Susan, but I'm telling you, it's crazy how many times I was a nun. But anyway, so that's what being a light worker means to me. And like I said, when somebody told me I was a light worker, it doesn't mean to quit your job and go, you know, be the lighthouse on the sandy shore. it means to be aware that you have a special energy. Not everybody's a light worker. I mean, my husband isn't a light worker, and I'm pretty sure my daughter isn't, but that's okay. That it doesn't mean it's not good or bad. It just means that um, part of my purpose is to hold the frequency to help other people move through some of those lower emotions and be the way shower, be the light for other people. And I'm honored to do that. And everybody here, I absolutely know are light workers. So if you have any questions or any doubts, I hope that calms them, because you're definitely a light worker. Susan?
You know, and there's so many different modalities of light workers. I used to tell my students that I thought it was so important for them, and I was in a very liberal district, so I was able to talk candidly about things like this. But I thought that it was the time was now for them to tap into their intuitive gifts. Because I really feel that it's going to go over into other areas in their lives, or I should say new developing areas. But it's like, we look at mediums. Okay, mediums are light workers, absolutely. That means you connect to the spirit world. But psychics, guys, we're all psychic. There's not a person in the world that's not psychic. It's like with animals, you might call it their instincts. With human beings, you say it's your intuition. It's the same thing. But being able to tap into that and use that makes life that much easier for you. Like Julie had mentioned, Reiki energy healing. And I find it interesting. I come from a Catholic Christian background as well. And I grew up laying hands on people, and I was very used to that. So when I trained in Reiki, it made perfect sense. At my family, I remember one time my mother, my grandmother, and myself getting together because we had a problem with ants. And we prayed the ants away, laying hands on the house to get rid of the ants, and it worked. You know what I mean? So it's like people may label these things differently, but like Julie's talking, you're a light worker. Acupunctures, even like everybody's into their diffusers these days with the use of aromatherapy. You can absolutely change the atmosphere, the feeling by the way things smell. Herbs. And that goes with cooking too, for those of you that might like to cook. I grew up in a restaurant, so it was all about food. And food is about healing and making us feel good. And it does. It has healing properties. And to me, that goes back to the things that you put in the food, the intention that you have when you prepare the food. Life coaches, past life therapists, even people that teach yoga or life coaching. I know teachers, these are all form of light workers, pretty much anything, but I just like the combination of the way that I see things kind of going now. I have so many friends who work with police to look for missing people, and they use their psychic abilities to do that. So I guess what I'm saying is there's a huge crossover that's taking place now that's opening all of us to different, and it doesn't, like Julie said, it doesn't have to be a career, but it is definitely giving you more opportunities than you may have had before, Okay, Julie, your turn.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to check in with Carla. I see that you have your hand up. Did you have a question, Carla?
Oh, hi. Can you hear me?
I can. Did you have a question? Okay. I saw you had your hand up.
Yes, sorry. I don't know why I'm so afraid to tap into that. I've been seeing a spiritual healer, and she did tell me I have these gifts, but I don't see them. I don't feel them. Maybe I don't want them. I'm scared. So is there anything that you guys can give me? Like, I don't know. I've tried the meditating, and then even when I'm doing the healing with her, she senses all this stuff that's coming out, and she tells me, don't give up. Don't be scared.
Honestly, from what I'm listening to, as you're saying, to me, it means like a lot of it, like I said before about setting the intention, a lot of it is just you set the pace for the spirit world. They're not going to do anything that wants to make you uncomfortable or freak you out. So what you just have to say is like, okay, I need you to show up. Like, I don't have spirits show up at the end of my bed anymore like they did when I was a kid, because it scared me. So it's like, there's something saying, this is what I can accept. This is what I can't accept. And remember, and I mean this with total sincerity, human beings can scare me a little bit. The spirit world, I've never, ever, ever felt anything in the spirit world that was scary. It was my perception of it, but it wasn't the spirit world.
Wow. Okay.
That's good. That's good.
That makes sense.
And, you know, I would have to say too, Carla, when I first started on my journey, and like I said, you know, someone said I was a light worker, and I was like, okay, I'm a teacher. That's what I do for money. But so I just began an exploration of what does that mean? And I took every class I possibly could. I read every book under the sun. I did everything I possibly could to learn and understand what it meant to be a psychic medium and then how to develop those gifts. So yeah, I think that being identified as a light worker or a psychic medium and actually using that in your life, integrating that into your life are two different things. And like Susan said, you know, we're all psychic, we're all mediums, all of us have these gifts. It's about a matter of whether you're activating that and saying, yes, I'm ready, I want to earn a living doing this, or I just want to do this as a hobby, or I just want to be a light worker and hold that frequency. You are telling spirit, you're in full and total control of what it is that you want and what it is that you desire. They're never going to give you more. And in the beginning, it really is about your own personal healing, because a lot of us have blocks, and I had blocks. My family had blocks.
Yeah.
Kidding me? My son's like, I don't want you to be a psychic medium. I like telling people my mom's a teacher, a school teacher. It's like, I can't run around and tell everybody you're a psychic. Are you kidding me? What are you doing?
I'm trying to listen.
I had to work through his blocks because I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm traumatizing my children. They're going to be in therapy for the rest of their lives. But yeah, so it's not only your own blocks that you have, but the people around you, you know, the fears you might have of, oh, you know, what's my mom going to say, or what's my best friend going to say, and I don't want to lose people in my life. So yeah, the beginning journey is really about healing. So I'm really glad to hear that you are working with someone right now, because that's part of what this program is about too, supporting each other. It's tough to go this alone. You really do need a support network to assist you and help you really step up and step into what it is that you want that to be. Maybe you don't want that to be anything but for your own personal use, and there's nothing wrong with that either. That really was the beginning of my journey, is finding things that I could do for myself. I mean, I got the angel cards, did readings for myself. I learned Reiki. I did Reiki on myself and my family. I mean, I did things to benefit and enhance my own personal well-being along with my family. And that opened up another world for me. And yeah, I'm not a school teacher anymore.
Beautiful.
All right. Anybody else have any questions? And we have Bonnie, setting boundaries with the spirit world is important for me, or it can become overwhelming with all of the sensory input. So yeah, and I know, Bonnie, you're very, very intense energy. You've got a lot of activity going on all of the time. And that is really important. And it is also important to be able to teach our children that they can set boundaries as well. It's like a light switch. I always imagine turning the light on and off. Susan, you want to speak to that? And if Bonnie, you have any specific questions you want to ask Susan, that would be fine too.
Yeah, honestly, the way that I've always kind of approached this is I would not allow somebody to just randomly walk into my house. You know what I mean? It's like, I would say that is not acceptable. So I sort of set up something a long time ago that James Van Prague, he used to do it like he'd say like an open sign or a closed. I don't do anything like that. But for me, it's just like people, whenever you're out at parties, people say like, oh, are you picking up anything on me? I'll say, absolutely not, because I'm not tapped in. If I walked around tapped in all the time, I would have stopped doing this work a long time ago, because it would have just been a constant overload. So I actually have one of my spirit guides. And I've never really told Julie this, but one of my spirit guides is a very large Indian man, and he's my spiritual bouncer. And what he does is when I'm shut down, it's like he kind of keeps everybody at bay. And through guided meditations, we've sort of worked this out, and it works really well for me. But I actually have to say to him, okay, I'm ready. You can bring through. And so when I do demonstrations, he actually puts people in order for me to communicate with. Because it used to be they'd all come forward at once and I'd be like, not even able to figure them out. So once again, go back, set an intention. Say, okay, this is what I'd like to have happen. This would make me feel better. And there were years that I walked around carrying certain crystals in my sports bras just to kind of serve as like a shield around me so things didn't come at me. So there's lots of little tools, tricks of the trade that you can do.
Yes, I've been using a crystal for protection. And then also, I imagine, if I'm starting to get overwhelmed with too many things at once, I'll picture a candle and I'll snuff it out, shut it down, so that I can have a block there for a while and take a break.
Yeah, and you probably don't like crowds.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, it can just be overwhelming. My husband wouldn't understand. We'd go down. I live at the beach in California, by the boardwalk, and it would be so overwhelming. I'd be like, "Get me!" I mean, so and I'm sure you relate to this. It's like you'll almost become insane because it's just so much.
Yeah, the panic attack. Yeah,
Right.
I've experienced that before, having that panic attack, and we were at a festival, Rock Fest, and we were right up front, and normally that's my favorite place to be, but all of a sudden I got hit with the energy and I couldn't get out of there fast enough. And my husband finally found me, and I mean, this is before cell phones, and he was a little upset with me. He's like, Julie, you just can't do that. You're young and beautiful, and somebody could take you. I'd never see you again. And I'm like, that's the last thing on my mind. It's like, I just needed to get out of there. And but anyway, setting boundaries is very, very, very important. And, respecting yourself and honoring yourself. And I love that, what Susan said, have a gatekeeper. Ask spirit world to send you a gatekeeper. It might be a loved one in spirit. It's interesting, Bonnie. I'm almost getting the feeling that your grandfather's stepping forward and wanting to be a gatekeeper. How does that feel for you?
That would be helpful, yes. I do have a lot of communication with him, but I've never actually asked him to take on that responsibility for me.
Yeah, because I'm seeing, he's like, me.
Yeah, I didn't want to ask him because he's done so much for me on the earth plane already, but maybe it's not too much to ask.
Absolutely. Yeah, not at all. He's there. He's there. So use him.
Okay.
That's what he's there
Thank you.
for. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So let's see. Lightworker in the real world. I think we kind of actually went through that. Just one thought on being a light worker in the real world. I think Susan mentioned before, we don't go around with our heads in the clouds. And certainly we have those moments of feeling like we're floating and that we want to disconnect from the world. But being a light worker in the real world means keeping yourself grounded. And you can do that by spending time in nature through meditation. That will help keep you grounded. Certain foods, I know nuts, even just drinking a glass of water when you're feeling a little lightheaded. But yeah, being a light worker in the real world means being a real person and being a model for what it means to be a light worker. Certainly you don't want to go around being disrespectful and inappropriate to people, and then over here you're going like, oh, I'm this big spiritual person. It's like you got to walk the talk and talk the talk. So any thoughts on that, Susan, being a light worker in the real world?
No, I think you covered that. I think we're I think we're good for that. So now you were going to talk about the spiritual council from there.
Yeah, and we kind of talked about that in the meditation. So I'm a firm believer that we all come to this planet with a spiritual council. And we also, each and every one of us, come to this planet with thousands of angels that are for us and us alone. We don't share them with anybody else. So I know sometimes people are like, oh, I don't want to bother my angels. And like Bonnie, I don't want to bother my grandfather. He's done so much for me already. But no, that's why they're there. They are connected to us. They have a special interest in us, if you will. And again, there are thousands. We each have our own legion of angels, and they're just hanging out, waiting for us to call on them. And we don't share them with each other. So when you think in those terms, when you're like, okay, well, if they're just for me and me alone, and I'm not sharing them with anybody else, I'm not taking away from anybody else's need, then okay, what's stopping me? What's stopping me from calling on them, from tuning into their guidance? And so we come with this council of light. They are with us always. They never leave us, and they are constantly trying to guide us as we're open to receive that information. So I've kind of put out an angel call and I've just said, anytime you see that I need help, go ahead and step in. So I don't have the belief that you have to call on them necessarily every single time you need help, because that gets a little tiresome. I mean, they're sitting around waiting on you anyway. So when they see a need and your heart is open and you're connected and tuned in and tapped on with your counsel, with your spiritual connection, then they come in and assist. And sometimes they will assist through words. Sometimes they will assist through inspiration. Sometimes they will come in through another person. So they have lots of different ways to come in and communicate and connect with us and help guide us. So we have what's called free will. And we can do whatever we want, and we don't have to listen to them or anybody else. And that's our free will. But if you've ever noticed when you go it alone and utilize that free will that we all have and do it anyway, do what you want to do, a lot of times life is a challenge, a struggle, and things don't go your way. But when I've noticed for myself, when I tune in to my counsel, when I pay attention to the guidance I'm hearing, and when I follow through with that guidance and honor that, things go much smoother. They're just easy. There's a grace in my life that isn't there when I do the free will route. So it is awesome how that works. And Susan's going to actually kind of move into 3 tips to communicate with our angels, with our loved ones in spirit. 3 specific ways that you can hear them and you can execute to make your life easier.
Now, although I'm just giving you 3 ways, there are just billions of ways that you can do this yourself. It's just a matter, I'm going to go back to setting intention again. It's just a matter of what works for you and what you can think of. I love music. So to me, the ones that I've kind of devised over the years play a little bit into music. One of the things that I like to do is when I'm in my car or on my iPod shuffle, if I'm going through something, I will say, okay, Spirit, I need you to send me some music. I need you to send me some words of encouragement to let me know I'm doing the right thing. I was on my way to a demonstration back several months ago in March. I was really nervous about it because I was doing it with somebody that was one of my teachers. And you know how you want to impress your teachers. And so I was very, very nervous. So I was just like, okay, don't get in your head. Be good about this. Put some songs on the radio to make me know that this is going to be okay and I'm going to be okay. And the first song that was played was Staying Alive by the Bee Gees. Then I heard Don't Stop Believin' by Journey. Then I heard Stairway to Heaven by Led Zeppelin. And I just about cracked up on the way there. It was just so funny because they were like all perfect songs about mediumship. So I'm like, okay, got that. So that's the first thing I'm telling you. The second thing that I think that's really great is with your specific loved ones on the other side. You can actually set up certain songs along the way. My dad will always send me Stevie Wonder's Isn't She Lovely? Even just saying that, it makes me want to cry. But it's what he wrote when his daughter was born. And it's like, I can't tell you how many times that song will play. I'll hear it. I mean, it's an abstract song. It's from the 70s. You don't hear it very often. But it's when I really need to hear it. And it's always like my dad kind of waving. And then the last way that I think is an awesome way for you to get messages is listen. When you're standing, like especially if you're going through something and you're like, I need some guidance. I need some help. go about your day, but be very aware of the environmental things surrounding you. Whether you're standing in line getting coffee, what are the people behind you talking about? Listen to them. Whether you're listening to the radio, listen to that. Look at the billboards on the buses as they go by. What are the words that kind of jump out to you? Because what spirit has the ability to do is to draw your attention in certain ways. And that even works when I do readings. Sometimes I'll just look out my window and a black bird will fly by, and I can do the rest of the reading just by seeing that black bird. You know what I mean? So it's like you just need to be aware of your surroundings and trust that spirit's with us and that they're going to be sending all of these wonderful little things our way.
Yeah,
Julie?
that's beautiful. That's beautiful. And for me, I mean, my journey to mediumship actually began when my father died, and he passed of lung cancer, and I was angry. I thought for me it was like a suicide because he had told everyone that he had stopped smoking, and he hadn't. He was hiding like a 16-year-old kid his cigarettes, and he kept smoking. So in the beginning, I was angry, and I talked to him all the time. I hollered at him all the time at how angry I was that he had left us. And I had started watching John Edwards and began to realize that this conversation that I was imagining in my mind with my father was actually real. It was actually my father talking to me. And once I became aware of the possibility that it was him, that I wasn't just making this up, then it began to really open up and take on a life of its own. And my father is who directed me to what I'm doing right now today. If it wasn't for that experience, if it wasn't for me opening up to the possibility that we could communicate with loved ones on the other side, I'd still be teaching. I'd still be that school teacher. So that's how I started. You know, a lot of times people are like, well, I can't hear them or I don't feel them. It's like in the beginning, I didn't either. Are you kidding me? I was not a believer in any of that stuff. Neither was my husband, who thought it was all bunk and, you know, wishful thinking. So in the beginning, I held full-on conversations with my father like he was here in spirit. And I would imagine what his response back to me would be. And then over time, I began to realize that his response wasn't my imaginings, that I really was talking to him. So that's, if you're having any trouble communicating with your loved one in spirit, that's the best way to start. Fake it till you make it. Any comments or questions? And we've got Sage speaking from messages. My daughter is listening to music. Hello from the other side. Oh, I love that. Lyrics just came on from Adele. I could hear from downstairs. Thanks for sharing that. And anyone else have any tips or tricks? How do you talk to your angels? How do you take their guidance, use their guidance, pay attention to what they're trying to share with you and use that in your life? Anyone? Raise your hand or just take your phone off mute and start jabbering at me. Hold on, Deb.
Hear me?
I can now.
Okay. I started talking about, it's been 15 years ago, I lost a son, and I was so connected to him, and I was a psychologist, and I didn't know how to deal with my grief. So I went into the woods for 2 years and to really scream at God, and I found him, and we've been talking ever since, and it's been a wonderful, wonderful, joyful experience that's opened me up to so much. I'm no longer doing psychology. I'm doing mostly all kinds of things, but I had a clairvoyant who talked to me for about 13 years about how to develop this, and I guess it's just the connection with the other side for me, the vibration just is so alive and so passionate and so loving that I think there's nowhere or nothing else that I'd want to be or do. And I know I'm getting emotional because it's the one time in your whole life that you feel so loved and so connected and so a part of something that's so much bigger than what we see and do on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, and I mean, how blessed is it that we can participate, that we can be open enough to participate in that beautiful, beautiful relationship with them, even in spirit. Yeah, that's a beautiful story. Thank you for sharing that, Deb. Yeah. Anybody else?
I just wanted to say, I mean, all my life, even as a child, was able to see and hear things that other people just weren't aware of. And I think society just doesn't want to know that anything else is there. So it makes you feel like you live in a world by yourself. And, you know, for me, I really started to accept myself after I met Julie, you. And, you know, we're able to, you know, say, this is real, you know, and really developed a relationship with my grandfather who had passed away. And he had been there all the time, but I wasn't able to hear, you know, clearly his messages. And that's really opened up a whole nother world for me. And my life has turned around and changed. I can finally accept myself and move forward. I just, you know, I can't say thank you enough. And for everyone that's here today, just to be able to connect with other people, share these beliefs is just really a blessing in my life.
And it's funny you should say that. It's like Julie and I, it's like to find your tribe, especially when you do this kind of work, it is just paramount. And to me, I thank God for groups like Meetup, where it enables people to like have development circles or meditation circles. Because it's like otherwise, I mean, think about it, before technology, I can't imagine how we truly would have felt very alone.
Most definitely, most definitely. All right, everyone. And Carla said she has butterflies. Dorothy loves seeing everyone's animals show up. Oh, yeah. And I've got my cat. Janae's cat. She wants to say hello. She's got that little cone on still. Yes, she won't get off my lap, so I'm just going to go with it here. All right. Definitely somebody in spirit is wanting to say hello. So anybody who has a cat in spirit, they're here to say hi. All right, so I'm just going to round this out a little bit. If anyone has any questions, we'll just take a minute to answer those questions. I just want to mention a few things about our Lightworkers Mentorship Program. Again, it is a 4-month program. It's $99. We meet once a month, typically the third Thursday at 3 p.m. like we are here right now. And it's open to 10 people, and we've got Dorothy who signed up, so we have 9 spots open yet. And the first class will start next week, next Thursday, and Susan and I will have all new stuff that we're going to be sharing with you. And also, if you have a buddy that you want to do this with, that's a great idea. Sometimes it's fun to sign up with a friend, and then you can have that experience together, and just another way to connect and tune in and do some processing together alone. I know I've done that a few times with friends. Well, with Susan, we went to England, and it was great. It was awesome to have a friend, to know someone who we could, you know, share some private moments and have some private discussions, just the two of us. So that was always kind of fun. And so if you don't get your questions answered here, feel free to private message me. I can certainly follow up with you there. Otherwise, you're welcome to jump over to our website at juliegeigle.com or susanschueler.com. And also I'll post, Susan, if you want to post in the newsfeed, it's js720.eventbrite.com is the link if you want to register directly for that class. And I just wanted to say also, we'll be creating a private Facebook group for those 10 participants. And this is an ongoing class. So we'll continue it throughout the year, but it'll be in 4-month chunks. So we'll kind of have a theme with every 4 months. So, I mean, if you want to continue, if there's room, you certainly can. Otherwise, you can, go off, do your own thing and come back. But once you've gone through a 4-month part of the program, then you're a lifetime member in the private Facebook group. So you can always jump in there and access support and meet other like-minded people. Love Facebook, and the group thing is just so fun. And then last thing I wanted to just say is Susan and I, again, we've got an agenda, but I've been told by Metatron and Jacob that they have their own agenda, which trumps our agenda. So there's going to be some exciting things coming through, and I'm excited to see what shows up here. But anyway, that's all I have. Susan, did you have any last comments before we take questions?
I don't really have anything to say in closing, except for I agree with Julie. I'm really excited about this. The teacher in me can't wait to help other people awaken and to hopefully have them have an easier time than some of the situations that I dealt with myself, because it is nice to sort of have a support group. So,
yes, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, we'll take questions for just a couple minutes, and then we'll go ahead and be on our merry way. We will do a closing. We'll do a brief prayer before everybody leaves, so don't bug out too early. I'm just going to do that beautiful wait time as a teacher. If anybody has any questions, you can just click unmute, post it, raise your hand. All right, so let's go ahead and close our sacred circle today. I'm going to have you all just take a nice deep breath and relax. And we're just going to thank each and every one of you that have showed up today. Sending you many blessings of love, peace, and prosperity. Opening your heart to receive all of these beautiful gifts that are here from God. You are perfect in every way. And we're just going to go around the circle here. And if everyone could just say one word, how you're feeling, or one word to help with our expansion, our alignment here. Whatever word pops into your mind. We're going to start with Bonnie. Bonnie, I'll unmute you. Bonnie, go ahead.
Blessings.
Blessings. Thank you, Bonnie. And Deb.
Peace.
Peace. Awesome, Deb. And Jeannie.
Inspired.
Jeannie, can you say that again?
Inspired.
Inspired. Love that. Julie.
Calm.
Home.
Calm.
Calm. Thank you. Carla.
Love.
Love. Thank you. Amanda. Amanda. Where'd you go, Amanda? I can't hear Amanda. You want to throw it in the chat room, Amanda? Unless someone can read lips.
Excited?
Excited. Ooh, I like that. All right. And Dorothy, I'm going to unmute you, Dorothy. Dorothy.
Mine was excited as well.
We'll let you keep it. Okay, Sage.
Vibrant.
Vibrant?
Yes.
Awesome. I love that. Thank you. Yvonne. Oh, hold on, Yvonne. We got to unmute you. Yvonne.
Curious.
Curious. Oh, that's a good one. Okay, and we've got Claudine. Claudine, I cannot hear you. And Claudine, if you want to post in the chat room. Oh, inspired, motivated. Thank you, Claudine. And Amanda. Oh, Amanda, that was the double Amanda. All right, everyone. May God's love bless you and keep you always. We hope to see you next week. Thank you so much for joining us here today. Susan?
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.